For 22 years, I sold nothing but new cars, but for the last 2 years, I've been selling used cars, and it sucks big time. I created this wall to remind me of all the good customers that we have, but unfortunately, over the last 2 years, we've had some really bad instances, and I absolutely hate it. The Equinox deal, where we had to erase the customer's name off the wall. The 𝘮𝘠 deal, where they tried to sue me 6 months later after they drove 11,000 miles in a car. We had the scammer who tried to buy a car and give us a fake check and give us a fake driver's license, but thanks to today's video sponsor, 𝘊𝘠, we were protected on that, and we'll talk more about them later. And then recently, we sold a Chevy Trax to a customer. 10 minutes after they left, they bring the car back, and I literally burned my hand on it, not to mention a few others that are absolutely crazy that I've never had to deal with when selling new cars. A new thing that I've developed over the last couple years that I never did the first 22 years of selling cars is just come up with a thing that just reminds customers that they're buying a used car. And I think it's a lot different when your name is on the building versus when you're a salesman for the company that you work for. Certainly I've sold used cars in the past. The last 2 years have not been something, oh, I'm selling used cars now and I've never done it before. That's not the case because there's more money in used cars than there are new cars. So as a salesman, I want to sell used cars to have the profit. But now, as the owner of the company, I find myself telling customers over and over and over again, and even potential customers, that listen, we're selling used cars here. We do this phenomenal inspection. I have no business and have no intentions to sell a bad car, but I can't tell you what's gonna happen at the 45-mile-an-hour sign right down the street there that I can see out this window. And that's the most frustrating part about this. Like, for example, I mentioned the Chevy Equinox earlier in the intro of this video. We took that in on trade and it had a little bit of rust. I've had people all the time ask me about Canadian vehicles and I don't buy them for this reason, but this was a trade-in and we thought, hey, you know, the old analogy is there's an ass for every seat. And so we decided that we're going to sell it and we're gonna be full disclosure that it had rust all the way down the wheel wells, the pinch welds, the rocker panels, everything. I mean, we put a ton of pictures on the internet to show. We made the description talk about the rust. Everything we did was full disclosure on this. And then we sell it to an amazing person. They're happy with their purchase. They leave us an amazing 5-star review. And then the next day, all the stuff changed and they're mad at us. And why are they mad at us? Because they went to a Chevy dealership and that Chevy dealership made them sign a form that said this vehicle is unsafe, this vehicle is not roadworthy, yada, 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 because they couldn't jack it up on the pinch welds. Well, hey, idiots, morons, at that Chevy dealership about a half an hour north of me, it's a unibody frame. There's other lifting points other than the pinch weld. But the customer now is in fear because they say this car is unsafe on the road. It wasn't unsafe. If it was unsafe, I wouldn't have sold it. It had some blemishes of the rust, but it doesn't make it unsafe. It was a cheap $4,000 car. So there's an ask for every seat. She brought it back, we gave her money back, we erased her name. How is this our fault? Now, where that was a little bit of a disaster situation, I don't want to be a Grinch in this entire video because I had a situation pop up that I was dreaming of to happen for 4 or 5 years and it just never came to fruition. And probably my most fun experience is dealing with that Nigerian scammer. And I gotta say that if you want to try to scam me, you have to wake up pretty early because I am very vigilant to ensure that I don't get scammed. That absolutely would have sucked if I wasn't involved to ensure that we didn't get scammed. I knew right from the get-go that it was a scam, but I wanted to do it because it was a fun video to make, and it's probably one of the funnest videos I've made in a long time because I was able to toy with him, and I can't believe that I actually got him on the phone. Now, I would have loved to expose him a little bit more, but unfortunately that didn't happen. But we definitely wasted a bunch of his time so that way he couldn't scam someone else. And that's why I'm really excited about having 𝘊𝘠 as a video sponsor in this video because staying scam free is crucial to me and 𝘊𝘠 plays a big role in that. Just the other day, right over here, I was speaking with a customer who lost thousands of dollars on a phone scam and it's absolutely heartbreaking. But I'm gonna show you this. This is my phone. I don't have any blocked callers on my phone. I don't get spam calls. And the reason why is because I've been subscribing to 𝘊𝘠 for a long time. And 𝘊𝘠 is more than just stopping spam calls. It's an all-in-one digital guardian. It hunts down and removes your personal information from sites that sell it, preventing those pesky robocalls, protecting against identity theft, and it's super easy to use. With 𝘊𝘳, you're just not dodging unwanted calls, you're also getting top-notch antivirus, you're getting secure VPN, and robust identity theft protection. It's a comprehensive digital safety all in one place. So don't let your data be up for grabs. Take action with 𝘊𝘳. There's a link in the description. You get a free 2-week trial with my code. Give yourself the peace of mind and let 𝘊𝘳 handle your online safety. And one of the things that I hate the most is actually wasted time. Time's an invaluable source that we can never get back. I can get more money, I can get more cars, but I can never get more time. And we sold that Nissan Rogue early last year, and we got this letter at the beginning of this year that they were trying to attempt to sue us. I keep this literally here on my desk all day long. I see it every single day, and it reminds me of how crappy people are. And we don't build the cars. We don't make the cars. We acquire them, we inspect them, and then we sell them. How someone can drive 11,000 miles in 6 months and something breaks and they say, nah, we don't want that warranty that you're recommending, and they don't do the research online to know that transmissions are an infamous thing in the Nissan Rogue, but they want to blame us, especially after we attempted to help them. And I said this in the video last time. They got $1,000 out of me. I spent $2,500 on the attorney fees. But the funny thing is I would have paid the $3,500 to them to get that transmission replaced. So they screwed up. But the biggest thing that they did is they wasted my time, because that took several months out of my time and going back and forth with my attorney to get things done, because I definitely was not going to give them their $15,000 back plus the $5,000 for their car. Absolutely was not going to happen, but that was a huge time suck. And the absolute craziest story that would have never happened if I was just selling new cars is this Chevy Trax that we sold. It had super low mileage. It was a great car. I was actually going to buy it, but we sold it before I got some logistics figured out on some insurance. But we sell this car, we take it on a test drive, we do the inspection, Grant takes it on a test drive, I drive it a few times because I'm thinking about buying it. And then all of a sudden a customer comes in and says, hey, what's this car? And we sell it. Not 10 minutes after the customer leaves, he calls us back and says, man, there's something going on with this Trax. It's driving sluggish, I got check engine lights on, I got all sorts of other lights on, I have no power. I'm like, what? Are you kidding me? So he turns around, he comes back, and we, lo and behold, we look inside the vehicle, and yep, traction control light, ABS light on, it's blinking, tire pressure monitor. I mean, it's lit up like a gosh dang Christmas tree. And so I tell everyone, don't worry. I know GM cars, if there's something goofy happening in electronics, that stuff all pops up, and it's just normal. I'm not too concerned about all of these lights going on. There's something crazy going on here, but we'll figure it out. So I start looking under the engine, and I get over to the passenger side, and the wheel, I'm feeling heat coming off the wheel, and I'm like, oh, is there something stuck in the brake pads, like a rock or something, right? We got all these dumb rocks out here. Let's go to the back and let's take the wheel off and let's see if there's something stuck in there. So I take the lug nuts off, and because the threads are on the outside of the lug nut, I don't want them to fall on the ground. So it comes out and it's stuck in the drill. And so I shake it and it comes into my hand. And next thing I know, with the customer standing right next to me, I'm like, oh. That lug nut was so freaking hot that it fell in my hand and it burnt the threads into my finger. Absolutely craziest thing. And I'm like, what is going on here? And we have no idea. I go over to look at the driver's side. The driver's side is locked up. So 2 brake calipers are locking up. Like, I can get 1 brake caliper, but 2 brake calipers locking up is absolutely insane. So I just tell the customer, you know what? Take my truck, I'll figure it out tomorrow. Well, tomorrow comes, we can't get the part right away from Bachmann. So we get that part on Monday and it doesn't fix the problem. It's like, you gotta be kidding me. So we start bleeding the brake lines and we find a reddish tint in the brake fluid. And we're like, what is this? Is it transmission fluid? Is it power steering fluid? We don't know what it is. So we have to flush an entire system. We put a master cylinder in it, and that fixes it. And that did not come up prior to us selling the car, which is absolutely insane. And then a story that I never even told you was about a subscriber flying in from Baltimore, Maryland, picking up a Colorado diesel that we sold. And we know that GM has transmission shudder issues. Corvettes, Yukons, trucks, Colorados, doesn't matter. We know. So we look for that stuff. And I swear to God, we drove these cars 17 miles and Grant is driving to the airport within 2 miles of the airport, which is a 25-minute drive the way I drive, probably 45 minutes the way Grant drives. He gets 2 miles from the airport and texts me, "This thing's got a shudder." I'm like, are you kidding me? What are we gonna do? The customer is landed. He's on the ground. Grant's there to pick him up in the car. You're talking about, how am I gonna react? How am I gonna do this? Luckily, we know the fix that we can just do that transmission flush and it should be fine, but that's a big risk on our part to do so. Thankfully, that car, I believe, is good. Thankfully, that customer is a subscriber and a follower and he trusted us, but not everybody knows who I am. And we are just a typical car dealership to more people who don't know me than they do know me. So that's just the crazy things that we have with selling used cars here at the store. And I know I titled this to a negative thing, that I hate selling used cars, and it does suck to sell used cars and have issues come up, but it's a big part of business. I've dealt with it for 24 years, so it's really not that big of a deal. I just hate that part of the business. And I want to give a big shout out to Ora for sponsoring this video. And if you want to be protected like we protect ourselves, make sure you use the link in the description below or the pinned comment.